My name is David Johnson. I work on the staff here at NAFA, and this will be my fifth INE, which is not a lot for some people, but a lot more than others. It is a wonderful gathering of fleet professionals. It really does become a bit like a family reunion for a lot of folks where they see friends they've known for a very long time in this industry. And it has a lot of wonderful opportunities for you to take advantage of as a fellow attendee. So I appreciate everyone carving a little bit of time out to be here with us. I'm going to share my screen. I've got a few slides. We are going to be joined by three, I'm calling them veteran Institute and Expo attendees, representing different sides of this fleet world, the government fleet side, the corporate fleet side, as well as a fleet supplier that provides services and products to the fleet community. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll do some introductions there. I'll let them introduce themselves when I get to that slide, and we'll just go from there. But I want to keep this pretty casual. If anyone has any questions along the way, please feel free to either unmute, use the chat, whatever you're comfortable doing. You can raise a hand, any of those fun Zoom tricks we all know way too well these days. So I'll go ahead and get sharing here. So, all right. So our additional attendees joining me today, we're gonna hopefully get this to go. There we go. So first up, just in alphabetical order here, Levi. Levi, would you do a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is a really fun idea that NAFA's put together for this year. But I'm Levi Clark. I am a CIFM. I got my CFM certificate in 2018. I do work for the Port of Seattle. I am the Maritime Fleet and Transportation Manager for the port. We have two fleet managers here, one on the aviation side and one on the maritime side. And I've lost track, but this upcoming INE is my seventh or eighth, I believe, over the years. So it's a great event. So glad you're all here as first time attendees.
Right, and Lori?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Sure can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm Lori Gill. I'm with the NAPA Manufacturing Company. I'm here on the supplier side. This will be my 10th INE. This will be my eighth one as a supplier, and I did two prior to that when I was a fleet manager. So you guys are going to have a great time.
Thanks, Lori. And Amy.
Hello, everybody. Amy McAdams. I am the fleet manager for Diebold Nixdorf. I represent the corporate side of the organization of the association. This will be my 16th NAFA INE. Stop laughing, Levi. And I'm also a CAFM. I got my CAFM in 2015, and this year I was presented with my lifetime CAFM. So welcome, enjoy, and yeah, can't wait to see everybody.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, all three of you. And as I go through any slides, if there's a moment where you are like, oh, I need to like chime in on this one, please, by all means, feel free to jump in, and I'll make sure to leave some space after I say what I got to say, and then we'll go on from there. So, um, you know, really going to the event starts today. It's preparing before you even walk out the door. So, successful event is going to be one that, we'll talk about that a little bit on our next slide, but really you define what success looks like. But you want to really come out with two or three goals that you want to achieve by going to the event. That could be certain vendors you want to meet with. That could be certain education sessions you want to attend. It could be maybe you're on the CAFM side and you're going to go to CAFM Live, and you want to, leave there ready to take some exams and feeling comfortable and confident that you could pass those exams. But that is really for you to really sit down and say, what is it that I want to walk out of this event with? So set some clear goals for yourself before you ever step foot out of your front door to head to Cleveland. Make sure you take a look at the agenda. The full agenda is online at nafainstitute.org. Check that out so that you can really kind of know what education sessions you want to go to. You can plan your days accordingly. Even though, especially in a fleet manager's life, you certainly cannot plan for what every day is going to bring to you, but try your best to make a plan for, when you could check in back home, check in with the office, check in and make sure things are still running okay in your absence, so that you can get the most out of being present at the event, being present in those sessions in the expo hall and at the networking sessions. And then you want to build a schedule. So when you look at the sessions, go ahead and you can use the mobile app. We have the code there to download it. It is available today for folks to download, but you can build your schedule within the app or you can do it on paper, whatever makes sense for you. And really know, I'm going to go to this breakout session at this time, and I'm going to go to this breakout session at this time, and, I'm going to have lunch at this time, and I'm going to visit these vendors and really try to build out a schedule. It's going to make your life much easier than when you're sort of trying to remember it all or you're kind of running all over the place and you're not entirely sure. Um, the, you know, Using the app and the maps. So the app has maps of the Expo floor. It has maps of the facilities, maps of all the education rooms so that you know where to go and how to get to where you want to get to. So I do really encourage you to download the app. It has a bunch of different notification settings so you can, turn off the messaging if you want to. You can turn on the messaging if you'd like to. It's really up to you. Um, Give yourself some buffer times between things. We have travel time between the education sessions, but just give yourself some time to take a breath, some time to recharge a little bit in between things. Don't try to set yourself up to have so many meetings and scheduling time with different vendors that you don't have time to just take a breath. So be mindful of that. And ultimately, much like you have to do in your everyday lives, stay flexible. Because something's going to come up, an opportunity might come up that you want to take advantage of. So make sure that you are not so locked into your schedule that you're not willing to pivot if you hear about a great opportunity. Anybody want to add anything to that one? Okay. Yep. All right. So what will success look like? So I lead with this. I lead with this really about the association and NAFA in general is you get out of it what you put into it. So, like most things in life, if you're willing to put yourself out there, if you're willing to show up to networking, if you're willing to go up and talk to a vendor, if you're willing to ask questions in an education session, you're going to get a lot more out of it than if you just sit quietly in the back of the room and don't choose to participate. Participation is going to enhance your experience tenfold just by putting yourself out there and engaging with other people, you're going to get so much more out of it. You're going to make a connection with a person that, could follow you for the rest of your career and become somebody that supports you and maybe has an opportunity for you down the road, or you have an opportunity for them, or, you get stumped with a crazy question that you don't know the answer to. The folks that you're going to meet at Institute and Expo are going to be the folks that, become your network possibly for the rest of your career if you allow it to happen. So, really be willing to put something into it, be willing to put yourself out there, and you're going to see that this is a much more fulfilling experience. And like I talked about a little bit, define what success is going to look like for you before you ever walk in the door. So maybe for you, it's I want to meet a certain number of people. Maybe it's you want to meet a very specific person. And I will just say, if you want to meet a specific person, the NAFA staff is here to help you do that. So if you have somebody you're trying to find, please come to the NAFA booth, talk to us, come to registration. I'll make it my mission to find that person you want to find. So, we are here to help you do that. But, maybe it's just I want to meet 5 fleet managers that are from, the Southeast. Great, we can make that happen. We can help arrange that. You can make that happen. We've got ribbons that say what region folks are from. We've got ribbons that say what type of fleet folks work in. So you'll be able to identify and see people that might match up with what it is you want to connect with. Um, Maybe it's I want to find a solution. We're having this issue with our fleet. We're having this problem, and I'm looking for a solution to that problem. And maybe that is your goal is I'm going to find some options to tackle this problem that we're having with our fleet. Kind of go in there with that as, what if I walk out of here with 2 vendors that can fix this problem for me, that's going to be a successful event for us. Um, Learn three ideas. Just enough. These are just examples, right? So whatever that might look like for you, define that for yourself and make that one of the things that you're going into the show looking to achieve. You're looking for actionable things, things that you can take back to your fleet and put into motion, not just ideas that are 10-year out ideas. You're looking for things that, you can definitely implement. We know that it's an investment for you to be at this event. It's an investment both of your own personal time to be away from your families, to be away from your home, to be away from your fleet, but it's also an investment of your organizations. And for some of you, it's a personal investment financially as well. And so you want to make sure that you're coming back with something that's going to make a meaningful impact on your job. And so that's where we say you want to find something actionable that you can go back and do. Making connections, finding new solutions and leaving with a clear plan for how you can implement all of those. You've got a chat here I'm going to take a look at. If anybody would like to chime in, please do. Your badge ID should have been in the email you received, your confirmation email. If anybody needs their badge ID, shoot me an email and I will send those back to you once the webinar is over.
David, Ashley had a question prior to that
Okay.
said, will we get our personalized schedule for education sessions at registration? I believe that you sign up for those.
Yes,
And you can also select them in the app and it'll create the schedule for you.
correct. Yep. We will not give you a printed out schedule at registration. So it's what you had um, put as your preferences when you signed up, and then you can add those in the app, but it is not, we do not give you one printed out when you pick up your badge or anything like that.
I think the one piece I want to add here, David,
Yeah,
is that as a first-time attendee at INE, go in with a plan and try your best to stick to that plan because you're going to quickly find that it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of information being shared. There's a lot of different sessions. So leaving yourself some room to adjust your schedule is good, but try not to get overwhelmed with all the new ideas and all the new things you're seeing. Try and always view things in the lens of how will I apply it to my fleet or my organization when I get back. So, the first couple times, it's like going to Disneyland or Disney World, where it's like I want to see everything, and it's just sometimes not possible depending on what your plan was going in. So, especially if you're traveling with colleagues from the same organization, try and split things up and divide and conquer that way is what we do on my team.
absolutely. Okay, thank you. All right. So some simple things that you can do to give you a few tools in the tool bag. Wear the first timer ribbon. Some people think it's silly, but it really does work. Folks will come up to you and welcome you. This is a very welcoming community of folks who are very generous with their time, with their knowledge. If you have that ribbon on, you're going to get welcomed by people. And that is going to, like, they're going to break the ice for you because of that. So please consider doing that. Um, have many, many other fun ribbons you can wear. We have the location specific ribbons, so you can say we're from this region or that region. We have a new one this year. I have a whole bunch of fleet type ribbons, so you could say, we're a government fleet, we're a commercial fleet, corporate fleet, we're a law enforcement fleet, I've got 10 different ones. They're literally behind me right now. That I will make sure we have there for you so you can, just things to help you connect with one another, to help break that ice for you. We're going to have the first timer orientation on Sunday. It'll be a bit of a rehash of what we're talking about here today, but we're also going to do some things to help you connect with people in the room with you so that when you are going into that first welcome reception, you've got some folks, you've already got your network growing right there and then. So please consider coming to that as well. And then, I just threw out a few simple questions that I know for me, when I was new to Fleet, when I joined NAFA and I didn't really have a clue what, certain things in Fleet were, just simply say, what kind of fleet do you work with? And, what are the vehicles in your fleet? Like, people can talk. I'm sure every one of you could talk about your own fleet for a long time. That is an easy thing you all have in common that you can, and if it's on the supplier side, what type of fleets do you support? What type of fleets do you work with? What kind of products do you offer? There are universal questions that you can ask that will just break the ice with anybody you're talking to and make it 100 times easier for you without being like, so the weather out there is interesting. What do you think? Let's take another look here. Some other questions. Uh, they are at we have all of our first timer ribbons and things will be at registration. I'm gonna bring a bunch of them with me as well to the reception too, though, so I can pass them out to folks as well. All right. All right, so on that same idea, when you're networking, we have a bunch of receptions, that you get to go to, a bunch of things you can go and network at. So things for you to keep in mind when you're doing that. Just start simple conversations. Don't dive into the details too quickly. Keep things to what we know every single person in fleet could talk about. Everyone's got vehicles, everyone's got equipment. You can talk about those, the makeup of those. Keep it pretty simple to things, and then let the conversation naturally evolve from there. Um, the be curious. People like to talk about themselves. People like to talk about what they do. People are comfortable talking about what they do and what they talk about themselves. So, that's a very easy way to connect with folks. Um, Meals and events, right? Like, so standing in line for the bar, standing in line to grab a bite to eat, those are perfect times to connect where we are all humans doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. So use those times to connect with one another. But then also don't be afraid to follow up. So if you have a great conversation with somebody, get their card, get their contact information, and be open to connecting after the fact. And we'll talk a little bit about, post event as well. But um, you know, don't let a great conversation just end when your beer runs empty and you go back for another one. Like make sure you connect or pass your card to them and say, "Hey, I'd love to stay in touch." It's a great network that really helps make great fleets. So be willing and open to doing that. All right, no new chats right now. CAFM Live has breaks for everybody to go on the expo floor. So you'll be in different sessions with CAFM Live. You'll be doing CAFM specific content, but you still get the breaks to go to the expo floor and walk around. Yep, the CAFM, if you're interested in that, stop by the NAFA booth. We're right in the center of the expo floor. And we have current CAFMs there that can talk to you about the Certified Automotive Fleet Manager. We have the staff who work on the program there that can talk to you, and we have lots of material we can give you for that as well. All right, we got those. Good deal. So when you're on the expo floor, um, it's the big shiny fun thing to do. There's so much to see and do and touch and interact with, and it is the place of greatest connection throughout the event. Focus on your needs. What is it that you're looking for your fleet? What is it your fleet needs? And connect with those vendors. Um, and start building those relationships there in person. Um, and don't be afraid to get into a little bit of the specifics for what it is the problem that you're trying to solve. You can schedule demos. A lot of vendors, you can go on their website right now and let them know you're coming to INE and schedule something in advance so they know you're coming. And you can have a lot of them allow you to schedule a specific time and say, I'm going to come by your booth at 3:15 and I'm going to talk to this person. So, definitely look into that. Um, Avoid just collecting the swag. I know it's fun. I know there's a lot of cool stuff out there. Um, as a person whose career has been going to many, many trade shows, really ask yourself, am I going to use this thing? Do I really want this? Um, you know, just just you suddenly find yourself going home with a lot of stuff that you don't realize where it all came from.
That is so true.
All right. Let's talk about the education sessions just a little bit. NAFA really prides ourselves on fleet education, and we have over 60 education sessions available at this year's program. Um, And so there really is something for everybody there. So make sure you're looking through the sessions and you're finding the ones that make sense for you, make sense for your fleet. And I do think there's two ways of looking at that. You could look at my fleet specifically, but also you personally, your personal development, your personal growth. What is it that you want to get out of the event and your career? And is there some sessions there that you believe would help you in advancing your own personal career? And don't be afraid of mixing some of those in with the sessions that are maybe tackling issues or challenges that your fleet are handling as well. Definitely take some notes, ask questions. So this again goes back into engaging and getting out of it what you put into it. When you ask questions, when you raise your hand, when you participate, when the speakers ask, for who's doing this or who's doing that right now, you're just going to connect more with the topic. You're going to connect more with those folks who are leading the sessions, and also that's where you start to build a connection with that speaker who is arguably an expert in that area that they're presenting on. Which is the last bullet point is don't be afraid to follow up with the speakers. Could be right at the very end of the session, go up there and if you think they did a nice job, tell them, hey, I really enjoyed your presentation. We're dealing with this challenge right now too. I really, so that's a great opportunity to connect. And someone volunteering to present, they're volunteering to be available. They're volunteering to be an expert, to be a resource to those people in the room. So don't be afraid to connect with the speakers at the end of the day.
David,
And I would like,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Levi.
Oh, thank you. I was going to add to this as well. Please send us feedback on the sessions. There's an opportunity to review a session and provide feedback afterwards. And I will tell you that that feedback is reviewed by a panel. And every year there are, David, I forget the number, but a couple hundred ideas floated to us for educational sessions. And we painstakingly go through those presentations, trying to select a good mix and good topics that are timely and interesting to everybody. So we really do pride ourselves on these presentations, on the product that we present to everybody for education. So if you find something could have been more helpful or could have been structured differently, please give us that feedback because it is reviewed. It doesn't go off into cyberspace and never be seen again. But we do review that after the show's over.
Yep, absolutely. Amy?
And I just wanted to add, when you do ask questions, you'll find that there will be somebody else in the session that had the same question, was just afraid to ask. So you will immediately build your network just by common issues that you're finding within the sessions.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. The number of times I've met people who didn't ask their question because they were just too nervous. It happens all the time. So if you're brave enough to raise your hand and ask the questions, you could be helping many, many people in that room. We had a question about choosing sessions now. Yes, the schedule is finalized. The time slots are finalized. So you can go in and review the complete agenda right now, either in the app or on the website, and start building out your schedule right now. Yes. You do not need to wait until you're there in person. All right, let's talk about some mistakes to avoid. And Levi touched on one of these here, but trying to do everything. You can't do everything. Um, really have your goals in mind, have set some goals ahead of time so that you know what you're walking into and what you want to accomplish. Try not to be everywhere and everything. Don't skip out on the networking. Number one, that's where the food and drinks are. So you definitely want to be there for that. But it is, it's a huge piece of the value of being there is the networking and the connections that you're going to make. Um, One of my things I talk about all the time is when I'm talking to, potential members and various folks is, for the most part, fleet managers are on an island within their organizations. Most of you don't necessarily have big teams of folks who understand the challenges you face every day or also don't understand the victories that you have, and you get something right and you figure out an issue. So having a network of people in this fleet community who have also chosen to make this their career is an awesome thing to have, because every single day in when you go to work, you don't necessarily have those people who you can talk to about this, who you can connect with about this. And we see it in the NAFA community online every single day, the way folks talk to one another, the way they support one another. Um, it's not always just solving a problem. Sometimes like I figured out how to do this thing. We have a law enforcement group that meets once a quarter, and normally we start with what the challenges everyone's facing, and it was pretty quiet last time, but we decided to focus instead on what's a victory everybody's had in the last couple of months. And the number of things that folks shared that they had come up with. One guy's 3D printing parts for his camera systems and at a fraction of the cost of what, some people were trying to charge him for it. Another guy, we can all be a little envious, is getting a brand new shop that was opening in a couple weeks, and he got to talk about his new shop and everything that was going into it. It's just awesome the things that you can do within this fleet community to share everything that's going on. So, don't skip out on the networking. Really don't. Not following up. So when you make those connections, when you talk to a speaker, when you talk to a vendor, you know, keep those cards, keep a list of the people that you want to connect with. And when you get back, I know when we get back and we're gonna, you got all the emails have piled up and the meetings are gonna be there and the issues are piled up and the work orders may be piled up. Carve out some time to follow up with the people you connected with at the event, because that's how the event continues for the whole year. It's the follow up. It's very easy to just get home and forget about everything that just happened. Make a time in your schedule for when you return home to follow up with the people you connected with. And then overloading your schedule. This connects back to the first bullet point. Just trying to be in too many places at once. You're only one person. Have some realistic expectations both for the event and for yourself and what you can and cannot accomplish. Any others anyone would like to add?
David, I always like to add in giving myself in between sessions, even if it's just a minute or two in between, to step away from everyone and write my big bullet points from that. So when I go back to my notes afterwards at the end of the show, it was, what did I take out of that? What did I need to follow up on? Instead of saying, I need to follow up on it. And then you go to the next session, you're on to the next thing, and you've forgotten about that. So I'd keep a notebook handy with you, bring that with you and just write some of that stuff down. That's something that I've just found successful.
Absolutely, Lori. Yep. If you take some notes, if you write down, your list and even to keep it separate from sort of like your meeting notes, like where you're jotting ideas, have sort of your follow up or your big ideas, your big things, like absolutely. Very, very good. Anything else? Okay. So turning, that experience into action, how do you take those ideas that you learned that day? So it's definitely reviewing your notes, read back through it, maybe before you go to bed each night, take a look at everything that you maybe learned that day, take a look back, finding those key takeaways, finding those key ideas, having those locked and loaded, ready for the next steps, and sharing them with others too. This is where you really take it to the next level, because you could have learned a great idea, but man, if you're networking with somebody and you could share with them, I learned this thing the other day. There's really a sort of an old way of thinking about things that if you can receive information, you might remember it, you might not remember it. Writing it down, that heightens the most likelihood that you will remember that information. But if you reiterate that information back to somebody, to a third party that wasn't in the room, sort of you teach that to somebody else, that is information you will have with you for a very, very long time. That really cements it in your brain. So, if you are in a session that you thought was really impactful or powerful, or maybe it solved an issue that you've been dealing with for months and months and months, and you're in a conversation, you hear somebody else has got that. If you share that information with them, it's going to really lock that in your head there for a long time. Plan those next steps. Plan when you get back to the office, what you're going to do, how you're going to follow up. This next one, sometimes this is even mandatory, but share it with your team when you get back. Like, have a plan for how you're going to talk to your supervisor about what you learned, talk to your team about what you learned, really share that information to show the value of, you guys made this commitment and me being at this event. Here's what I took away from it. Here's what I've got from it. And then again, that follow up with folks. Really make a plan to do that within the first few days of being back in the office, back in the shop. Be ready to follow up with folks. Don't let it go too long. One more friendly reminder, please download the NAFA app. This will help you out with your schedule of everything going on. It also lets you connect with one another. There's some different tools in there. If you have any questions about it, please email me, djohnson@nafa.org. I will be there. The whole NAFA team will be there. So please connect, stop by the NAFA booth and say hello. I'll leave this up for a minute here. If some people haven't scanned this yet, let's take a look. Uh, your wife can definitely come to the graduation. You don't need a separate ticket for her. We allow family members to come to that. Usually one or two. Usually there's a spouse or someone there that will come to watch the graduation. That's generally about it. Registration is every day, including Wednesday, the final day, Corinne. So our registration desk is open from Sunday through Wednesday. The session builder should let you add the sessions to a schedule if you're logged into the app. The badge ID is the same as your registration ID. Should be in the confirmation email you received when you registered for the event. If you can't find it, please shoot me an email and I will get it for you, Trevor.
It's the email that has the barcode in it.
Yeah, the email with the barcode in it.
Well,
Yep.
Eric, there was a comment from Eric Page real quick where he said, I don't see a way to register for the session on the app. If you were to click on the session on the top left-hand corner, you're going to find like a little ribbon. And if you click on that, it'll go ahead and build that and add that to your calendar. So maybe that's what you were looking for. Let me know if not, and I can see if I can help you offline.
Yep. We're happy to help as well, Eric. The other thing is like definitely build out a schedule, have that there. It is not locked in stone. You can go to whatever session you want to go to. So if you're there in the moment and you decide you want to go somewhere else, by all means, please do that. Quick reminder here about, I went one too far, sorry. The first timer orientation will be on Sunday. So this coming Sunday, April 12th, 5 p.m. It'll be at the Hilton, which is the hotel next door to the convention center. And on the fifth floor, which is where all the ballrooms are, in the Veterans Ballroom AB, which is directly across the hall from the welcome reception. So you can come on into there and we'll all connect with fellow first timers. And the four of us, I can do that. The four of us will all be there. So we're happy to connect with you in person as well. We'll reiterate some of this information as well as, we'll find some opportunities to connect with one another in the room. So once again, as you go across the hall to the welcome reception, you'll have some folks to journey over there with, some new connections with you. With that, I'm going to stop sharing and we can open it up to additional questions folks might have.
I got a couple quick
Yeah, Levi, yes, please, sorry.
when you look at the agenda on the INE website, a couple things on education sessions. The staff has done an amazing job at trying to categorize the different sessions. So you'll see small icons after each of the sessions. And there's a key on there that tells you that this session is intended for safety, if you're interested in safety or police fleets or new to fleet. So there's some like 101 level what is fleet type sessions that are being offered. But once you kind of figure out what icon fits your desired outcome the best, you can then start to filter some of those sessions based on how they're categorized. And the other one I want to point out too, and I'm so excited that NAFA is bringing this back, on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, there is a charity activity that we're going to be doing where we're going to be building bicycles. And so that's Wednesday, 3 to 5 p.m. You can register for that. There should have been an email sent out, I think, a couple weeks ago. But in the past, when NAFA's done different community and charity events, it's been outstanding. Just a huge group of fleet professionals getting together to do some good for the community. So really excited that this is coming back. So I'll be participating in that.
Yeah, we'll be building bikes for local kids who are in foster care. All the tools, everything will be there. You just bring yourself and your ability to probably turn an Allen wrench if I had to guess. And we'll be able to. They said 3 people can build a bike in about an hour, so they put you into groups of 3, and um, we're hoping to build 30 or more bikes for the kids in the area. So if you're able to stick around and do that, that'd be fantastic.
And I just wanted to say, make sure you bring lots of business cards.
Mhm.
Um, don't be shy. Wear comfortable shoes.
Mm.
I will be wearing tennis shoes, even though I might be wearing dress clothes on the top, just because I've learned from my mistakes. If you're a woman, don't wear heels. You'll hate it. You'll hate yourself, And what else? Look for me. I like to take pictures with people and put them on LinkedIn. So yeah, if you're there, look for me. I'll definitely be at the first time reception. And there is especially someone on this call that is a first timer that I'm looking forward to seeing in person again. So I won't call her out. She knows who she is. So anyway, that's it. That's all for me.
Quick question: is the barcode relevant? I mean, you can certainly scan the barcode at registration to get your badge, but you can also look up your registration by name, by email address, there's many different ways we can verify that you're registered. So if you have the barcode, yes, you can walk up and scan it and your badge will print out, and that is obviously very simple, but the other ways are not challenging either. So don't worry about it if you can't find that. If you'd like it, let me know and I could help get it resent to you as well. Typical dress code for the event. I'd say sort of business casual. You're gonna see, you know, khakis and polo shirts, collared shirts, jeans, a lot more jeans these days, honestly. I think jeans and
Mm-hmm.
a collared shirt is pretty typical wear these days. Sneakers though, absolutely. You're walking around on concrete floors a lot, so they might have a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of carpet on it, but it's not giving you that much padding. So other than that, jackets, not as much. A little bit, you'll see some people. Some folks will. You'll see the gamut. You'll see a guy in shorts and a t-shirt. You'll see one in a full suit and tie, and
Yeah,
everything in between.
That's true.
I would
Yeah.
say for the most part, people are dressed like what they dress like at work every single day.
Yeah. Pretty
the
business
conference rooms
casual.
tend to be the conference rooms do tend to be chilly. So if
Cold.
you are cold, bring a sweater, bring a jacket, dress accordingly.
When you put a couple hundred people in a room, they heat up fast, but not always fast enough. So
Do you know
layers
how
are.
many people there are attending, David?
We're over 2,100 right now.
Yay.
Yep. And we've got we're almost 700 and, yep, it's over almost 800 fleet managers. Hmm.
Another question, is the conference center clear bag policy?
No, you
I
can
don't
bring
think so.
any kind of bag you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
And
say
I think,
too,
do we get a
sorry.
bag at registration?
Yes, you'll get a tote bag at registration, and many vendors also pass out bags. Somebody asked for my email address. I threw it in the chat there, but djohnson@nafa.org.
I just want to say too that this convention center is laid out really well this year. It's a great location. Amy and David and myself, David's obviously staff with NAFA, but Amy and I are directors for NAFA. And we did a site tour last year, and the education sessions are very close to the expo hall. So there's not a lot of walking. Some convention centers aren't laid out as nice as this one is, but this is a really nice location. So
Mhm.
everybody's going to be in one space. So not a lot of walking. unless your hotel's further away.
Monday night is the Rev It Up reception, which is the big reception sponsored by Stellantis. It is at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We have the entire Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to ourselves. So we have free reign to walk around and explore the entire Rock Hall of Fame. Um, and I'm anxiously watching the weather, and it's looking like it's going to be pretty nice that day. So that'll be awesome.
Yay.
We will have shuttles available if you want to take a shuttle, but you could also walk.
David, there was someone asked a question. I think it was
Yes.
Corin said, is there space to pop open laptops for note taking during the sessions? I replied, yes, there are tables, but I want to remind everybody, if you want to make sure that you have a table to sit at, get there early because some sessions will be standing room only.
The way the rooms are typically laid out is there are rows of tables with chairs at the front of the room and rows of just chairs at the back of the room. So if you would like to have a table to put a laptop on, that does require you to sit in the front of the room. It's a trade-off. Uh, who's that? Omar, please follow up directly with me offline about that, about hotels.
Our marketing team does a great job on the guitar comment.
Yeah, we will have a live musician playing at Sunday's welcome reception. So
Nice.
check that out. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? I hope everyone has safe travels to Cleveland. Safe flights, safe driving, however you're choosing to get there. If anything comes up between now and then, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am available. Anybody on the NAFA team is, but certainly feel free to use me as a point of contact. And hopefully I see you all Sunday afternoons, early evening for the first timer orientation and then the welcome reception.
It's going to be a good time.
Yes.
All right.
Can't
Levi,
wait.
Lori, Amy, thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
Of
Thank you,
course.
guys.
Thanks, everybody else. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Safe travels.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.